So this take is it's probably going to get a comment. I saw a comment on one of our other takes real quick that was like proceeds to say nothing. So I guess I'm going to proceed to say nothing on this take. It's going to be quite lukewarm. The transition take foul. I talked to you about this off camera, but I feel quite passionate about it. I think it is a fantastic change for the league. It's kind of prevented that lazy defense, that just giving away a foul to prevent a nice fast break, layup or dunk. And it's good for the league for two reasons. Obviously, scoring goes up just a smidge, but you're getting those fast break, elements where, a lot of your highlights come from. Probably a good 50, 60% of your highlights come from just fast break opportunities. And I'll back it up with just a tiny bit of stats. I actually think it is increasing the scoring because we're getting an extra 2 points a game. That's a league-wide thing. We're getting an extra 2 points a game. And yeah, that's all I have to add on it. I really just I think it's a great thing for the league, and I think there's probably other FIBA rules that over the years could start to come in. We know that they took the 14 second on the offensive rebound as well, and they've got the transition take foul. And now I feel like I'm amalgamating my take into praise into maybe we should adopt this rule. But that goaltending rule, that one with the cylinder on the basket, I think that's quite interesting. I think that's one that maybe the NBA will look at in the next couple of years. Go with whatever I've given you. Enjoy.
It's funny because you sort of pinched half my take anyway, so let's just roll it all
Oh
into
yeah.
one, I guess. I guess let me make this clear on your comments here. I hate this rule change. I think this rule sucks. I hate the fact, and I don't know where you got your numbers from. You said the scoring's up by about 2 points a game. Scoring's up
Yep.
from 110.6 points a game to 114.2 points a game at the moment. So that's nearly 4 points a game. Okay, and teams are scoring a lot at the moment, and I hate it. I don't I sort of been watching this all season long now, about 50 games in, and my biggest takeaway from this high scoring league now is that one, it's not really that enjoyable, and two, it's probably not in the best interest of the NBA because where do we go from here? And I guess to take this sort of back into context, 20 years ago, so I've got, what is it, Basketball Reference up in front of me at the moment. 20 years ago, teams were averaging about 93 points a game. Okay. And that scoring increase has sort of increased, each year as an average, obviously into the, about 10 years ago now, 2013, that was about 101 points a game. And now they're at 114 points a game. At this sort of clip, at this sort of rate, in 10 years' time, scoring average is going to be over 120 points a game. And the only way that they can change that is that they implement things that actually restrict you from scoring. But they're taking away all these things like that. What do you call it? What do they call the rule?
Transition take foul,
Yeah,
which
transition
is
take foul.
akin to FIBA unsportsmanlike, really, on that fast break play.
And we've probably said this. We've had this conversation off air before that I hate this rule. I think fouls are part of the game, and you can use your fouls accordingly, and you get six of them, so use them as you wish. But now it's like every foul's unsportsmanlike. A transition play that's smart that you stop the player, you can't do that. So now scoring's exploded, and look, like I said, I hate it. I don't know where the basketball's going from here in the next 10 or 20 years.
You've went real doom and gloom real quick. I think we've touched on this debate, and to be honest with you, we should probably park it for an actual topic discussion. But I've always talked about player skill and flow, right? I think basketball and netball are two parallel sports, and I think we know that netball has more stoppages and it's a lot stop-starty. But basketball can venture into that depending on the referee intervention, and you don't want that at those kind of opportunities in the game. So a fast break opportunity is technically a defensive lap and a bit inability to secure a rebound, and you've given up an easy shot. That is your punishment for that. You can't get bailed out by then fouling them.
Yeah, your punishment for when you foul them is you get a foul. That's how it's
No,
always
you've
been
given up
until
two
this
points
year.
because we don't want to watch someone get fouled and then take a free throw or go to the sideline and those kind of things. It's about flow. I think that's the reason why the
So
rule was
so
changed,
I
and it's a
guess
good change.
the way the game has now evolved then is that players are really not playing defense. a lot of the stuff, sort of the casual chatter at the moment is there's no D in NBA anymore. You just do what you do. How many games have, we had players score over 50, 60 now. Multiple players have hit 60 this season. And look, it seems cool, but it's actually sort of lost all effect. I think back in the years, you get a handful of players score over 50, maybe 60, and that was a huge achievement. And now, obviously, the superstars are obviously getting the ball in their hands. The players are being drawn up from, and these rules that are obviously playing straight into the sort of the scoring side of the game, is really diluting this game that has both ends of the floor to play. I think that's the point. And I think it's at the moment the defensive end and fouls is part of defense. That's what I've always said all along. Player drives to the rim, whether it's a fast break or not, and you take a foul. That's your play. That's your strategy. And I know you sort of counter argue this that's a lack of skill, but that's not how I've ever seen it.
I think it's a bailout, right? I think it's just like it's something that you do when you have no other options to tactically intervene. And you're calling it a tactic, but I don't know.
I guess so. So at the end of the day, your take here is that you love the rule changes simply
Yeah, I do.
because what the game flows better.
I think it flows better. It flows better. You get more highlights on a fast break, which is predominantly where you're going to get your highlights. And inadvertently, it probably forces people to actually play some defense. And they have, I don't have the metrics on this, but I am sure there have been more transition blocks created because of this rule as well, right? Where people have to play defense naturally, and so they're able to actually get a stoppage and those kind of things. And it's no longer the default of just submitting, right? Like, oh, there's a fast break happening, quickly fouls. Like now I have to make a tactical decision. And I think that inadvertently is better for the game where people are forced to make basketball plays because fouls in theory, according to the rule book, are actually not basketball plays, right? They're a violation of the rules of the basketball play, which is why you get penalized for doing it.
I guess, and I guess where does the game go from here? How do you see the game going from here? So obviously these sort of rules come into play. You're talking about goaltending. So you're saying goaltending should be removed?
No, it's like once the balls hit the ring, you're allowed to slap it off the ring, I
Okay.
believe.
Yep.
Whereas, you know how there's that cylinder in the ring, I believe the current NBA rule, I could be wrong, is if it's anywhere near that, you can't even touch it. It counts as basket interference. Whereas in FIBA, if the shot has missed and is like up, you're allowed to tip it straight in, or even knock it away.
Okay. So you're saying that's a good or bad rule?
I think that would be a good rule, right? Um, because again, it's about flow, right? So not having to call goaltending on putback dunks or basket interference on those kind of things would probably be good for the game. You'd have less of those calls.
So we should adopt that when the ball hits the rim, once it comes off the rim, you can then interfere with the ball. Is that sort of what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah. So you would theoretically also show off more athleticism as well. And then tactically speaking, there would be, like I think of Rudy Gobert in the standpoint, he'd be able to slap the ball to his teammates and obviously secure more team rebounds like that. And it potentially increases the value of some people. Obviously, it, has a defensive minded, we call it pacing and spacing sort of stuff as well. So there's merit to it.
I guess I'm curious. I'm curious how you sort of. I guess we're sort of casual fans here. We're not in the US even. We don't get to games physically ourselves, so we sort of watch it all online, I guess. But how do you think that these sort of rules being applied make this a better product though? Because I don't. That's what I'm saying.
I think, like, have you been to a live NBA game before?
No.
Okay, so I've been to a live NBA game, and the average like time of attending one is about 2.5 to 3 hours, right? And that's from the game tipping off. That doesn't include whatever you choose to do beforehand,
Hmm.
right? It's quite an evening out, right? So if you're going to head out to a game, you're going to go out for dinner beforehand. You're going to go out there, and you're out for like 5, 6 hours. It's a big night, right? What you want is you want a product that flows, right? That you want a product that flows a little bit more, gets that time just slightly down. Now, from a business standpoint, you could make a case and say people want to spend more money because they're there longer, they get thirstier, hungry, etc. But you're talking about shaving off time, right? I think your sweet spot is between 2 and 2.5 hours, not 2.5 to 3 hours. And so these kind of players where you're not having to make stoppage calls all the time, right? As in the penalty for a transition takeout is too high, right? Where you give free throws and possession, so people don't foul anymore. The game naturally flows just slightly more, right? With the goaltending rule or the basket interference, it just allows people to get the ball quicker, right? We're not having to, like, there's not even just the officiating call. It's the fact that now I can touch the ball when it's touched the ring, opposed to having to wait for it to double bounce or triple bounce off. We're talking milliseconds here, but it's just all about that zippy flow of things.
Yo, this is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.